How do we know if it's coming in? Excellent. All right, I'm just gonna see how this goes. Okay, welcome in today. I'm just gonna continue on working on my API for letemcook.io. In this case, I'm working on the ISO app learning to program in Swift. So I've got my API service here. I just made a function get explore recipes, and now I want to do a get categories because I have categories of food, categories of recipes, and what we're doing here is we are bringing. Are we? No. We are returning a array of categories, and then as well as a bool as has more. That way we can paginate through if there are more categories than what our limit is set to. I have not put in the parameters yet, but I think we can get to that. So it's going to look similar, I believe, to our get explore. So we're going to want a search string that can be nil. And then we're going to want not a category. In this case, we'll just set a limit. That's going to also be 18. And then we'll do an offset, and we're setting that to 0. That will increase to whatever our limit is in case we want to paginate through. Okay, so now I've got my params, and we're just going to do a string, and this is going to be equal to the limit. I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing here yet. A string, a limit, an offset. Okay, so our limit, and we'll add the limit from our parameters, and then we'll also add the offset. That way we know how many to get and we know where to start. The offset telling us where to start. Okay, so we have our params. I am curious. Your live control panel. So, okay, I guess I don't know where that would be. What's the warning? Warning. I'm just curious what my warning message is. I don't see any warning message. Okay. Warning. Will this give me more? The stream is current bitrate is lower than recommended. How do we get up the bitrate? Let me see. I'm not seeing a bitrate. Oh well. Okay, I'm gonna continue on. I'm not sure why this warning is there. It says good now, so I don't know. Okay, anyway, back to what I was looking at. I've got my limit, I've got my offset, I got my parameters, and then we're gonna say if search is search and not empty, then the params are going to be search is equal to search. We are not doing a category. We're not doing calories. What am I missing? Oh, the return statement. Okay. Let response equal to an array of categories, which is going to be... No. That's not what we want. We want our response to be explore recipe response. Do I have a get? Add a get calories. Okay, yeah, the endpoint is going to be the get categories. Let's see if I have an explore. No. Okay, so I think I need to add a, how do I navigate? Navigate to, let's see. In my Claude. Okay, how do I navigate to definition? of function in Xcode. Command plus click. Oh, that's it. That's it. Okay, okay, okay. So I want to see if I have like an explore. So I got command plus click. Command plus click. Cool. Explore recipes. I'm gonna want a private struct called explore category response, and this is gonna be decodable and sendable, just like our explore recipes response. And we will let categories be an array of category, and we will let has more be a bool. Okay. What is issue? Does not conform to protocol decodable. No, why is that? Decodable, sendable. With type decodable cannot automatically synthesize decodable because category does not conform to decodable. I'm not really sure there. Let's see if I can get a hint because I don't really remember what our category might be. So where are we now? We're in, oh, we're still in the API service. So in the services / API service, I am getting an error that explore category response is not decodable. Do you know why I am getting that error? Also, I am just curious. I feel like I should have another instance going here more for side questions. How do I log on? Log errors. Okay, I don't care about that. Okay, I want to ask, what is decode label in Swift? What do I think it is? I'm pretty sure decodable is that we can take a, is it that we can take a response from the API, such as a JSON string, and decode the string into an object that Swift recognizes. I think that's my understanding. Let's see if I am correct. Yes. Oh my gosh. I never trust if I'm like exactly right. Like, I'm going to want to go into details here because yes, exactly right. Well, let's see, because the explanation is usually relatively correct, but the initial, oh my gosh, you are totally right, not always correct. Decodable is a protocol that lets Swift automatically convert external data into a native Swift struct or class. You define a type that conforms to decodable, and Swift's JSON decoder handles the mapping. The JSON keys in your type's properties. User decodable let in ID. Okay. So now that we know that, let's see why we might not have a proper decodable object here. Your category is referenced in explore category response, but it's never defined anywhere in the project. Really? Okay. I did not know that. Take me there. All right. Explore recipe. So we don't have an explore category? I guess not. Ooh, that was really loud. I'm apologetic for that. Where's my mouse? I gotta figure out how to set those notifications to something a little bit quieter. Okay. So this is in recipe. No, we have category right here. Default category string recipe. Oh, we call it recipe category. Okay, okay, okay. You know what else is weird about Swift is that you cannot tab. I find that strange. Side note, can you turn down the system volume? My notifications are very loud. Okay, so we did call it recipe category, not category. I don't know how to tab around, so I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. Let's try this. Recipe category, and then in get categories, we want actually recipe category. Cool. Okay, so that actually worked. That was the issue, is that it was called recipe category, not category. All right, let response equal to explore category response, and this is equal to a try await get what is the name? Get categories. Okay, so we have a get categories, and we want to pass those query params, hey, which is params, and then we're going to return a response dot recipes and response dot has more. Value of type explore category response has no recipe. Oh, duh. Why would I copy that? Okay, response dot recipe category categories. Perhaps we should keep. I think I want to keep this to be congruent. I can't think of the word right now. Coherent. No, none of those are it. Get recipe categories, and we want to get recipe categories. Main actors isolated. Is that an issue? Okay. For my API, I cannot see models, API service. Where do these API paths go? That I'm not 100% sure about. The endpoint. Where are the endpoints? Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Sorry. I just want this guy. In my project, I have API endpoints. Where are those defined? Let's see if it can help us out here. I'm not really sure. Views, assets, models. Is it in the models? The URL. Okay, found the issue. Actually, there are two problems here. Explore category response references recipe categories, but the struct has categories. Yeah, I do want that fixed, actually. That's consistency. I want consistency in my naming. That's why I'm changing the recipe the categories to recipe categories. Got it. The fix is straightforward. Explore category response needs to use recipe category instead of categories. Well, yeah. Okay, that's fine. I didn't ask it to fix. Now adding sendable. This happens sometimes where it's like, whoa. Hey, I just was asking a question. I did not need you to go through and start editing stuff. Now add sendable to recipe category since it's used across the other boundaries. These look like source kit indexing errors. Let me check the full file. It didn't ask if I wanted to change it. Isn't that weird? Sometimes it will, 99% of the time, it'll ask me if it wants me, if I would like it to make changes. And in this case, it just went for it. Okay. Your original error. No, that wasn't an error. That was a question. Okay. But I had a question. I am working through lesson 05-networking. And I am on step 7. I need to make my API endpoint. Where are those endpoints defined such as number 1. I am working on endpoint is get categories. Where is that defined? That, see, I'm just not sure of. And I know it's somewhere in there. I just don't remember. That's one of my favorite parts is you can step away from a project now and you can come back a couple days later and you can just jump back in. You don't need to spend hours getting yourself into the flow of the project. You can also work on multiple projects now, which at work, a lot of times that is necessary. And there was so much time spent at work context switching, and context switching is still a thing. And you know what? It might even be worse of a thing in terms of the amount of times you are context switching. However, you can context switch much more easily. It's in the Next.js project. Oh, right. We are using the endpoints that are in the actual project on the server side. This is all just on the Swift side, and we are using the APIs that we have created. The one question that I have not figured out, and I just haven't like dove into it yet, is I'm using Next.js 14 or something, and in that we use app router, which I believe I do not need to use an API. So I don't understand how I am now using APIs. In fact, in the original document saying how I wanted to create this application, I said, I don't need APIs here. I'm fine just moving forward with straight old SQL. And we have APIs. And I was more kind of curious of, okay, like how's this project going to diverge from APIs? And it hasn't. We still use APIs. So that I don't fully know how it works. Okay, I don't need to see the recipes route though. I get how it works. So in here we're calling them recipe categories, and then the other project we are calling them categories. Not super stoked on that, but I'll deal. Okay, main actor. There's a warning, but I think it's still gonna work. Print the raw JSON string inside execute on decode failure. So next time you get a decode error, the debug info is already there. I don't know what that one means. I think I'm going to skip that. Not all these exercises we have to do, especially when an AI is creating the exercise. Like if I was designing this, I don't think I would make that an exercise. Print the raw JSON string inside execute. I don't even know where the decode on inside execute on decode failure. Yo no sé. Okay. Add a server error subtype, a structured error body. The backend sometimes returns error message for XX codes. Parse it in service.4s, where message is human readable. That seems like a good idea, but I really don't know where that goes. So I just would like a hint, please. Okay, working on exercise 3. Can you help break this down? I am not sure what it is asking me to do. Let me look at the current error handling in API service. Oh, because we're doing a get. No. Well, yes. Kinda. Here's our get. And then what was this? Our execute. Oh, in the execute. Okay, so this was the add server error subtype, a structure by the backend, or parse it. Okay. Here's what's happening now in verse and what the exercise wants currently. Line 96 to 97. Okay, is right here. Can I just do that and not totally destroy my workspace? Let's find out. I think so. Oh, nope, I can't. Dang. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, so instead I'm just gonna make this window a little smaller. This one a little bigger. What the exercise wants. Here's what's happening right now. When the server returns a 400 error, you're just converting the raw response bytes to a string and using that as the message. So if the user sends back error, recipe not found, the message becomes the entire raw JSON string error, recipe not found. What the exercise wants. The backend sends errors in a structured JSON format. Instead of dumping the raw JSON as a message, you should decode that JSON and pull out just the human readable error value, so the message becomes just recipe not found. What the exercise wants. The backend sends errors in a structured JSON format instead of dumping the raw JSON as the message. What the exercise wants. Weird. Did it like reformat that whole thing multiple times? Fill in a small struct to decode the error, then use it. Okay, server error. Ah, so that's like what our decoding is. So we're gonna do private struct server error body, and that is decodable. And we're gonna let error be a string, and then we're just gonna replace this bit with default. Oh no, where's my up arrow? Let message equal to, okay, yeah, we can try to do that. And then we're doing a decoder, decode server error. Why is it not? Did we not name it that? Server error body. Oh wait, expected expression, private struct, let error string. I don't understand. Can we generate a fix? Can't start chat in a while selected. I did select a model. I guess it doesn't save across multiple times. Okay. Well, for now, I'm just going to get this part going. So we've got server error body dot self from data error, and we're either going to have a string that is data, that's the data from the response, and then the encoding we're going to do, okay, UTF-8. Interesting, so I wouldn't know to do that. Or unknown error, and now we throw the API error dot server error HTTP response dot status code and the reason message. Is that okay? I like having that reason there. We got two errors: server error body. Cannot find server error body in scope. It is in scope. It's down here. It's right here. What's wrong? I am getting an expected expression error for the private. Oh, see, sometimes it just takes just starting to type it out. Perfect. Save, and if we come back up here, that error's gone, but then we have an error. Here's it, the reason. Remove argument label reason. Okay, so that wasn't like, why would we put it there then? All right, so that was exercise número 3. Necesito número 2. Now that I have a bit more there we go. Print the raw JSON string inside execute on decode failure. So next time you get a decode error, the debug info is already there. Oh, I think number 3 is a add-on to number 2. So is exercise number 3 building on exercise number 2, or are they independent of each other? I did these out of order. I'm kind of curious. We'll see if we can find it. Because I found the other one, so why is it having an issue? They're independent. Each exercise targets a different part of the API service. 1, new endpoint. 2, added debug logging inside execute. Okay, but this is inside execute, yeah. Touch the same execute method, but neither depends on the other since you already did exercise 2. I didn't do exercise 2. You have the debug print statements. You just need exercises 3 fixed, which is exactly what I described, the error message. Did I do exercise 2? I don't see it. I wonder if it did it. Debug, print raw JSON. Yes, it's there. Look at lines. Oh, I didn't do that. I wonder who did that. Okay, well, I want to type it, honestly, just because I'm not really sure what's happening here. All right. Whoa, but this is for 200. I definitely didn't do that, though, because I don't put in those things. We're going to print raw JSON. If let JSON equal to string data encoding .utf8, then we print decode failed raw JSON. Do we think emojis are going to continue to permeate the world of code strings? Yes or no? I don't think so. I think they are obnoxious, and soon enough we will no longer be using them. But I suppose that AI will continue to use them. So as long as code is written in AI, we will be seeing emojis in our error messages and other strings that I don't think need them. And then we throw API error. And what are we putting in there? We're decoding the error with error. On the decode failure. Okay. Print the raw JSON string inside execute on decode failure. So next time you get a decode error, the bug info is already there. All right, I think that's good. All right, we have finished lesson 5. Next up, we are going to lesson 6, the recipe library list. This is where we can fetch data and then we'll render it into our Swift UI list with loading and error stage and a poll to refresh. So thank you for checking in today. I will be doing that one on another day, and you can check out what I'm building at letemcook.io. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.